To Success and Money Live. Today we've got with us Kurt Mortensen here, and he's going to present the Rules of Thumb, Chapter 10, which is buy on credit, sell for cash. So take it away, Kurt.
Excited to have you back for the Rules of Thumb for the Academy of Creating Enterprise. This is the place where we're going to learn the skills, not only to start, but to really grow and expand your business. We're going to be focusing on that as we get into the next rule of thumb, how we can buy on credit and sell for cash. But before we get into that, part of this process is having an accountability partner, working with somebody, and thinking about your victories. You got to focus on the victories because there will be defeats. There'll be successes. There'll be some failures. That's part of life. That's part of success. It's part of growing a business. So this is rule of thumb number 10, how to buy on credit, sell for cash. All part of acting now, doing now, starting now. And as you start, you're planting that seed, you're watering it, you're fertilizing it, you're watching it, you're loving it. It's going to grow. And it's going to grow and grow and expand. And as the tree grows, take the fruit from the tree, give it out, help others in need, and go out and make the world a better place. That's what this is all about. Help yourself, help your family, but you're also helping your community, your country. So let's get into a case study. Jonah, a bright young man, had a hard time deciding what business to start after he graduated from this academy. As he was walking around his hometown one day, he strolled by his high school and stopped on the street corner to wait for some cars to pass by. He noticed several students asking a delivery employee if the store in which he worked offered photocopying services. That employee told the students that the store didn't have any photocopiers and that, as far as she knew, no such services were available nearby. Jonas knew that he had found his business idea. He asked the owner of the store if he could rent a small, currently unused space inside the store. The owner granted him permission, and they drew up a rental agreement. The only problem was that Judith didn't have any money for rent. He asked the landlady if he could pay her at the end of the month. The landlady agreed. Jonathan asked his friend Maria, who was a sales manager for an office supply company, if he could get one photocopier and pay for it at the end of the month. Maria, wanting to sell a machine, relayed the request to her boss, and Jonathan left the store with a receipt for the photocopier. It was delivered to a small business space the following day. Jonathan didn't have any paper to use for making copies, but he figured that if he could borrow just a few pieces, he could serve a few customers and make enough money to buy more paper. He asked the landlady to give him 25 pieces of paper on credit. She gave him a full ream. He then started promoting his services to students at the school near the store. Jonathan attracted so much business that very first day he earned enough money to pay the landlord for the ream of paper she had loaned him. Jonathan continued to buy supplies on credit, and by the end of the month he had raised enough money to pay the rent and purchase the machine, pay himself a pretty good salary, and begin a savings account to pay for a second photocopier. Okay, what did Jonathan do to be successful? What did he do to start this business? He had no money, so there are no excuses. You can make excuses. You have to have money to make money. Not true. He borrowed paper here, rented a space here, photocopy a copy here. All agreed to get paid at the end of the month. Gave him 30 days to get things going, to make some money to pay those things off. He paid off the paper in the first day. Do not be afraid to ask for credit. Think about it. This was a win-win for everyone. Even though the photocopier company let him have this photocopier free for 30 days, they won because he paid for it, and he's even going to pay for a second one. The store owner won. Unused space, it didn't matter. It was just sitting there. Hey, try it for 30 days. Paper, that's cheap. I'll give you some. You could try it out. Pay me later. It was a win-win for everyone involved. Everyone made a profit. Everyone is smiling. It was a great deal. So let's hear another voice. Let's watch a video from YouTube. This is Tom Painter, founder of successandmoney.org. Going to talk a little bit about that buy on credit, sell for cash. Tom, take it away.
Buy on credit, sell for cash. You want to build your credit limits or your credit lines. Doesn't mean that you put a lot of money on your credit cards. If you're going to use credit, you automatically have them paid off every month. Now, automatically. We talk about automatic investment. We also, as I managed all these properties, we were doing about $500,000, $500,000 just in rental income on a monthly basis. Well, I had a lot of expenses too, mortgages and utilities and stuff like that. Everything was automated. We never are paying anything late because it's automated and it just happens. It's a machine. But you also want to build your credit as you find great products. You want to be able to get those products, but it doesn't mean we run up and borrow money on a credit card. 16, 18%, that's a lot. So we want to avoid that, but we want to have lines of credit that we can use. Sell for cash, try not to have a lot of long-term accounts payable, because that's the thing that's going to squeeze your business. So figure out how to get the cash out of it and be able to turn that inventory.
So you see the importance of credit. There's also dangers of credit. You have to make sure you've done your research, you've done your math, you know what's happening. But let's get some more expert advice. Buying on credit enables business owners to use other people's money, like suppliers, to purchase items without paying for them immediately. Selling for cash helps business owners maintain a stable and reliable cash flow. When you buy an item on credit, you will not actually have to pay for the item until after you have sold it, depending on how quickly you can sell the item. If this happens, you have essentially used a creditor's money to buy a product and have used a customer's money to pay for it. This practice helps create a healthy cash flow because it keeps money in the business for longer periods of time and ensures that the business has cash to pay for the product once the bill comes due. This increase in cash flow can sometimes enable you to keep some extra cash on hand. And having extra cash could help you take advantage of special promotions or bulk purchase discounts. So what are some ways to buy on credit? Many of your creditors are, not quite sure, but maybe you can give them a post-dated check or sign an agreement or a contract to just give them a little something, a little reinsurance that you're going to do this. So you can post-date a check for 30 days. Write on a piece of paper, a napkin that you're going to pay in 30 days. Depends on the situation and how technical they are, but a post-dated check could do that. Maybe there's some type of creative lender arrangement. Ask them, what can I do to do more on credit? They might have solutions you haven't even thought of. They could be creative. They know their product. They know their service. And there are creative ways. As long as it's a win-win, there are creative ways, creative things that you can do to get more on credit. And the next one, a big one, is take a look at different consignment plans. Now, consignment is a business arrangement in which goods are entrusted to you, a third party, for the sole purpose of selling them. They might have 100 things in their warehouse, 100 things they're trying to sell. They might as well give it to you to hold it for 30 days to see if you can sell it. So the owner of the goods, the consignor, retains ownership, even though you're trying to sell it, even though it might be in your store, until the items or item are sold by you, the third party. Because think about it, if it's sitting in their home, in their warehouse, someplace else, it's just sitting there. They might as well give it to you, put it on your cart, put it in your store, at least other people are seeing it, and more people tend to buy. I mean, this could be done with fruit or vegetables that could rot, clothing someone has made that's just sitting there, put it in your store, your boutique, art, furniture. There's other things. You can reach a wider audience. You could have more products without paying for them up front, see which ones are selling. Because if they're not selling, you can give them back. You never have to pay for them. So how does this work? First of all, you need to have a contract or agreement. So get together and figure out what that should look like. You enter in this agreement, this contract. You specify the terms, the date you're going to pay them back, how much you're going to pay them back, and when you sell it, what percentage will they receive? Then, of course, the sale, that you're selling the goods on behalf of the other person. The payment, how many days, is it at the end of the month, is it immediately, what percent are you going to pay them? So both of you know exactly what happens when a sale is made. And then what do you do with the unsold product? Well, if they don't sell, you're agreed upon after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you return them to them. So they have an opportunity to sell it, but you don't have to pay for it. If you don't sell it, you don't have to pay for it. That's the beautiful thing about consignment. Here's another example. When a supplier needs to sell merchandise but can't find anyone who is willing to buy it, you can offer to display the supplier's merchandise for sale in your retail store under the following conditions. If a co-signed product is sold, you will pay the supplier the normal cost of the goods and keep the profit. But if the product does not sell after a certain period of time, the supplier must agree to take back the merchandise you got on consignment. So let's look at a few examples. Suppose that Rosa Lima paid 25 pesos for a flashlight and has tried unsuccessfully to sell it for 45 pesos. Samuel asks Rosa Lima to loan him the flashlight so that he can try to sell it for 45 pesos. Samuel asks, if I can't sell it for 45 pesos, will you accept half of anything that I can make over 25 pesos? If Rosa Lima says yes, and if Samuel is successful in selling the flashlight, both benefit. Samuel makes a little extra money on merchandise that he never paid for, and Rosa Lima is able to recover her costs on the flashlight and maybe even make a little profit. That's the power of asking. That's the power of seeing that it's a win-win. Samuel might have better visibility, better sales skills, and Rosa Lima gets rid of the flashlight that she has not been able to sell and recover her costs for paying for that flashlight. Another one, if Ursula were to go to the market and make a purchase on May 4th, she would write a check for the full amount and date it for June 4th or even August 4th, right? That's that post-dated check. The vendor from which she purchased the goods would hold onto the check until the date for which it was written. On that date, the vendor would cash the check and receive the appropriate money from Ursula's bank account. This method of using credit would enable Ursula to have merchandise in store for 30 to 90 days prior to the time when she actually has to pay for the products. If all goes well, Ursula could sell the merchandise before the check is presented at the bank, and she would have more than enough in the bank to cover the amount of the check. So each of the three has their benefits or drawbacks, but you do you, be creative, learn to ask, adapt it to your situation, to your economy, to your business, and you'll be able to buy on credit and sell for cash. So what are some more tools and techniques that you can expose yourself more and buy on credit? Sometimes showing a bank statement and showing cash flow that you're actually in a business making money. Suppliers just want to make sure they're getting paid. They want to make sure it's not too big of a risk. And when they can see that you have a healthy cash flow, that you're making money, that can make it easier. If you're just getting started, show them your business plan, your financial projections, your estimated cash flow. Another thing you can do is to build your credit. Now, this depends on your location, your country, but a lot of people around the world have credit scores, and the higher the score, the easier it is for suppliers to give you credit. They know you're good for it. It shows suppliers that you're reliable and a responsible person. So, if this is appropriate in your country, you can open a small credit card and pay your bills on time. Opening up bank accounts can be very helpful. Even if it's cash, there's word of mouth. But as you pay them on time through banks, that helps your credit score. Next one is negotiate terms. Everything's negotiable. If they won't do 60 days, do 30. If they won't do 30, do 15. If they won't do 15, do 5. If they don't want to give you 100 units, do 50 units. Do 10 units. Start off with 1 unit. Whatever you need to do to show them that you are reliable and can sell their product. That builds trust. And that's all about being polite and professional, never rude, always looking for different and creative solutions. Let them know how this credit's going to benefit them and benefit you, benefit both parties. And be willing to negotiate, be willing to compromise. Just find that win-win, the perfect solution that works for both parties. Next one is start small. That builds trust. So when you begin with smaller orders and consistently pay on time, establish a track record of reliability, then they'll be more willing to give you more and give you bigger orders. Part of that, too, of course, is communication, paying on time, paying early. Let them know you're committed to your word, and that will build trust. And even though you're starting small now, you can go big in the future. And leverage your relationships. Maybe you have existing relationships with other people, other businesses that can provide valuable referrals. They can let them know, yeah, they pay their bills on time, they're a good, honest person. They can introduce you to potential suppliers, let them know that you are good at business and that you will pay them back. You can network with other business owners, other entrepreneurs, and always ask for more. So after you've established a history of payment, you're good, you started small, you developed a relationship, everyone's happy with the terms, you're building your credit. You can request better terms. You can ask for more. You have proven yourself. So you could ask for increase to your credit limit, longer payment time, more product, or all of the above. So when you use these, and use as many as possible, that starts to build a great relationship with your supplier, increases your chances of better credit terms, creating a better supply chain for your business, and be able to grow your business faster. All right, let's talk about a fable. The seamstress and the generous merchant. So in this large city, there was a seamstress named Roberto. And Roberto was a skilled artist. He was able to create and weave beautiful fabrics, and everybody loved him. He was highly sought after. However, Roberto often struggled to buy the raw materials that he needed. He needed silk, different dyes, and looms to create the fabric. Merchants always demanded payment up front, leaving Roberto with a little capital to invest in his business. One day, a wise old merchant named Darius visited Roberto's workshop. He admired his work and offered to sell a large shipment of silk on credit. "Pay me back when you can. When you've made the sale, you can pay me back," Darius said. "Focus on creating beautiful fabrics and let me worry about the immediate cost." Roberto was hesitant at first, but then accepted Darius's generous offer. With this new silk on consignment, he produced a stunning collection of tapestries, fabrics, and scarves. And soon he was able to repay Darius with interest. Roberto realized the power of credit. It allowed him to invest in his business, expand his production, and increase his profits. He began to negotiate credit terms with other suppliers, building strong relationships with merchants who believed in his talent and potential. So the word of Roberto's success spread through the large city, attracting even more customers. His business grew and expanded, and he became a respected figure in that city. What's the key here? Buying on credit allows you to invest in growth and expansion without depleting your cash. So when you can manage your credit, make sure you're making the payments on time, you can leverage this technique to achieve greater success in your business. Now, the disclaimer, of course, use this credit responsibly and only do it when you know you can pay them back in the time frame agreed upon. So what's your homework? So what can you do? What strategy can you use that we talked about to buy on credit and sell for cash? So what can you do? Who can you talk to buy on credit and sell for cash? And what strategies are you going to try first? You're going to try second, even try third to make this work. I mean, the biggest piece here is just ask. Open your mouth and ask. So do it, make it happen. Homework's not optional. You want to be successful. These are proven principles. These are the rules of thumb. Buy on credit, sell for cash for the Academy of Creating Enterprise. Open your mouth, get the terms you want, buy on credit, sell for cash, and grow and expand your business.
Thanks, Kurt. I just want to jump in and talk just a little bit about some of the concepts that he's talking about here with credit. The flip side to credit is consignment. And what's amazing is that These big stores, for example, the big bookstores, they don't own the books that they sell. They get them on consignment, which means the publisher sends them the books and then the bookstore sells them. Now, these are the big stores, not maybe the mom and pop stores, but they sell them. And then when they sell them, they pay the publisher for the book. If the book doesn't sell, sadly, they rip off the cover and send the cover back and destroy the book because it's cheaper to do that. But it's kind of interesting that is a form of credit. The bookstore does not buy the book first and then sell it. They just take it on consignment and then they sell it. Companies like Airbnb, you've heard the term, you wonder what it is and how it came about. Airbnb, many years ago, there was a guy that was renting an apartment in San Francisco and he didn't have enough money to pay the rent. And there was a design convention coming to town and there's no rooms available. And so he found a way to advertise to the people at the convention that he had this apartment that was available for other designers to be able to rent. And he put out air mattresses. That's where the air came from. The B&B stands for bread and let's see, bed and breakfast, I think. Bed and breakfast. So that's where the Airbnb came in. He didn't own the building. He just was the guy in the middle that did the consignment on it. Big hotel chains, Marriott Hotel, which is one of the biggest, they own all kinds of other different brands. They don't own the real estate. They lease the building on a monthly basis and then rent it out on a nightly basis. But the biggest part of their business is they don't even do that. They just manage the reservations and do marketing, and other people buy the real estate, own the building, own the business, and then they pay a big royalty back to Marriott. Same is true with McDonald's restaurants. McDonald's restaurants, people buy the real estate, buy the building, buy the equipment, stuff like that, and then they pay an override to McDonald's. So what I want you to do is I want you to be thinking differently. Now, pulling out your credit card at 19% to buy something is not usually a smart idea. There's other ways to try and negotiate something, like in the story where they were able to take a product, turn around and sell it, and then when they sold it, then they paid the person. I've done that many times with stuff that we've done. Doing it with real estate. We would find a piece of real estate, we'd write an offer, get the offer accepted, and then we'd tell them we have 30, we'd pay the rest of the money in 90 days. And that would give us the right to go in and fix it up. We'd spend elbow grease and paint and powder and clean it up. And then we turn around and sell it. And then we would make our profit and the individual would get his money out of it too. So there's all kinds of ways to do that creatively. So that is a thing that I want you to think about. Most people just stop and say, well, I can't do the deal because I don't have the cash and I don't have the credit. What you have is the creativity. That's why I want you to be thinking creative and learn those things. One of the great places to go would be to go to the Nothing Down seminar that Robert Allen did. And this applies for all businesses. There's 5 F's. You need to find a good deal. You need to fund it or control the property. You need to fix the problem. Then you're either going to flip it or you're going to farm it. And you do that with property, you do it with real estate, you do it with businesses, you do it with products. It's the same strategies, and you get very creative when you go through that Nothing Down seminar or read how to write a Nothing Down offer. They'll give you all kinds of ideas how you can control a product, turn around and sell it, and make a profit on it by using some of those techniques. Thanks for watching, everybody.